Men.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peter Igaga. I'm the boldest man in Kampala. Unfortunately, today there are some pretend boulders who are here on the show with us, but we'll figure that out. Others are trying to hide their tummies because they feel that their tummies are a little too exposed, but that's up to them. Now, tonight we are here at Sanga Courts, and we are going to talk about something that is very close to my heart, and that is business. I'm not going to give you my opinion, but the main question that we're going to interrogate today is very simple. Should every man have a business, whether it's a side hustle, their main business, or should you just stick to employment? Colin, what business have you done?
Me?
Yeah.
Good evening, viewers. As you can see, we live in a world full of surprises. And one of those surprises is how Peter comes at us.
You're an easy target.
He thinks I'm a soft target.
You're a soft landing.
But he doesn't know.
He has no idea.
Peter, no, I mean, I don't know whether you know this, but I've done a couple of things. You know, I ran a startup travel tour business years ago when we were doing this affordable traveling for young people, group tours. I've done a photography business. I've run advertising agencies. I've done a consulting business, campaigns and things like that. So yeah, I'm relatively well versed with that world. But also I find that, so to answer your question, is there a place in every man's heart for business? I think that every man's heart has a greed for business. Because business is about growth, is about margins and profit and very many people can talk the language, but I think the thing that makes business so interesting is the principles that it puts into your life. And we talk about this a lot. I think we've talked about this thing of transferable skills, right?
Yeah.
So people who are good at business tend to be good at other things in life because they take those skills, that discipline, the patience, the rigor, the formatting, and they sort of bring that and apply it into their lives, and you start to see. So my view is that if you take the principles of business and apply them to your life, you can see some success.
All right, but before I give you my thinking about
No one
it.
wants to know your
No,
opinion. You said
because-
you opened the show and said I'm not going to give you my opinion.
Yes.
So now don't start. Just
Okay.
host the show.
All right. So Chris, now that I've not been allowed to give my
Are you
opinion,
guys okay?
we're
No,
getting
you
there.
can actually say your piece.
No, I'll tell you
No.
what. Just
Yeah.
relax, calm down. Now, I have a school of thought. Not today. I have this school of thought that when everybody's told to start business, and you're a business coach, so I'm not trying to take business away from you. But when
can't.
we've got so many people all in the race, okay, we end up going nowhere. Shouldn't the drive be more of saying, be good at what you do, but find other people who are good or probably better at what you do and partner with them, rather than saying everybody should start a business, because Uganda has the highest, I think, one of the highest business birth rates, but also one of the highest business death rates.
We're startups.
Yes, with startups. So we're just in this hamster wheel, running and going nowhere.
I mean, look. Every time you ask a pregnant question, I have like 1,000 answers. But there's a book called The E-Myth. And I would recommend anyone who wants to dig into this to read. So the author talks about the fact that most of us, when we want to start a business, we start it because we're good at something. You've worked at a hotel, you're a good chef, you've worked at an agency, you're good at marketing, so you're a guru at something technical. So you go out to start a business and then you get to find out.
Is this for like?
Yeah, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying.
Okay.
And so you get to find out that business is not about just the technical skill. You need to, when you're self-employed, the more success you have is the more you die, because you've just come from employment where you have one boss, and then self-employment, you have many bosses. So the more bosses you have, clients, is that the more you die. Okay? So then you say, no, this is not working. So then you say, let's hire some people. And then you realize that it's a different ballgame managing the people. That's a totally different ballgame. So you find that there's a technical people, then there's managers. But that's not the end of business. There's a different skill when you own the business, when you're casting vision and taking the business forward and expanding it and having to pay the bills of all these people and etc. etc. It's a different ballgame. So you find that in any business, when you start, usually Ugandan businesses, you start as a self-employed person. You call it a business. Some of the stuff you said, some of the stuff we say, you know how it is. You started this thing. You say, no, it's my business, because you registered it at URSB. And then you realize it's self-employment. Then you hire some people. Then you realize they're giving you a run for your money, and you need to go pro. And so then you hire a manager, or managers for the business. Then you actually start leading the business. So you sort of transition through that. The person who's leading managers who lead people, in other words, who's leading a system, is the person who's got a business.
Yeah.
All right? But that takes time, and you evolve. So would I say that everyone should do business? I think that everyone should try it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But not everyone succeeds, and not everyone succeeds at the same level. Right? In Uganda, where I come from, they say engarote zenkanankana. You know, these fingers, it's not the same length.
Translate, man.
Colin's interpretation of that is...
No, I'm not in Colin's world. I'm just speaking English right here.
I was looking at you because you said,
yeah.
When Chris said, in Uganda, where I come from, I looked at you because you said something about that earlier.
No, I don't know about his. I'm saying mine. Okay. No, but we're not the same. Yeah. So you're going to find that there are people who hustle and make business work. It's a grind, but it works. Then there's people who are gifted in business and add little effort, and the thing still works.
Yeah.
And then you find that there are people who are both gifted and are very hardworking, and it really goes by, the business grows a lot. So I think that, Rabbi Daniel Lapin, he's written a number of books, Thou Shalt Prosper, and a few others. He's Jewish, but I think his books are really great, and I think anyone who's interested in business should try and read and get his opinion. He says that business is worship. It's like you serving people. John Maxwell calls it adding value to people. Yeah. So if there is value you have, you bring it to the market. And for crying out loud, if more people want your service, and there's a way in which you can multiply how you do it, do a business. For me, it just, I don't see what's wrong with thinking of or dreaming of business and trying it out. Because what's the worst that can happen?
You could fail. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Then you start another thing.
But you see, the thing is, and Agaba, you have been in this situation where you were in the corporate world.
Yeah.
You've now gone into business.
Yeah.
Somebody could say you got a soft landing because you've gone into family business. So you didn't have to hustle. So it might make sense to you. So, but then what about the guys who Chris is encouraging? Just go out and fail. People are borrowing money. Okay, people are getting into debt.
Peter, you didn't ask me about how to go about that.
No, because these guys were cheering you.
But you see,
wait, we're going to come back to you.
Peter, you're doing that thing of lacing something and putting words in someone's mouth which they didn't say. So I didn't say, go borrow your head off as you do business, because there's actually a way in which you can go about it that makes sense. there's something called organic growth. So, because there are people who are in established businesses that borrow and the businesses shut down billions of dollars.
Very
And
true.
so it's not whether small or big. The borrowing piece is another one.
Okay.
Yes, Chris, let's first talk about the soft life, baby. Soft landing, not soft landing, soft landing.
You cannot accept that, my guy.
No, see, I think to give you a little bit more background as to who I am and where I came from, can correct that misstated thing of a soft landing, right? So, in 2011, I repatriated to Uganda. I was born and raised in the US, and I spent many years in corporate America working a variety of different jobs. And one of the jobs that I had, which I was most proud of when I came back, was I spent a bit of time as a sales professional working with IBM. And in that time, I wasn't having the best performance at one point. And so my boss asked me this critical question. He says, "Are you a hunter or are you a farmer?" Right?
Good question.
He says, "This is what you need to understand about yourself in order to know whether this job is a right fit for you. If you're a hunter, you eat what you kill. You're ready to wake up every morning before the sun comes up, and you get out there hungry to sweat and stress yourself to the bone. You don't take no for an answer. You go out there and get it. If you're a farmer, you're more concerned with cultivating relationships and being friendly with people and having a community of coworkers around you, and that fulfills you.
Really?
And you can be a part of this group, this collective corporate culture and this family of everybody who's proud to say, I work for this company." And I realized that I wasn't a hunter at that particular stage of my life. The things that I had to work for, the motivations that woke me up every morning were just different. So I got tired of corporate America. I returned to Uganda. And I entered the grind. I entered the hustle. Directly, day one. No soft landing. No fatherly introductions to my uncle, my friend. Right? No fatherly introduction to your uncle, the minister, the CEO of this or the president of that. Strictly on my own, wanting to make sure that I fulfilled my purpose, to make sure that I proved that I was made of the right material to survive here.
So were you doing it to prove to everybody or to prove to yourself?
To myself. To myself. Strictly to myself.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm the youngest of three brothers. I was fortunate enough to have parents who afforded me the best of the education that I desired, all the way up to getting a great master's degree from a great university. Never stressed or struggled or anything when it came to having what I needed in life.
Yeah.
But that didn't translate to me being able to say, I've made it on my own. So when I came to Uganda, that's what I was determined to do, make it on my own. I spent 5 years in the trenches, building a business. You see all of these companies out here providing cocktail mixology services to every single event that you've ever seen in Uganda. There's 85 of them on Instagram. Everywhere you look, there's a new cocktail company sprouting. I started the first ever beverage catering business in Uganda. That's on record. Check my resume.
Okay, all right.
Mixology Inc. I did that.
Yeah.
I spent my time, my effort. Shout out to Edson Banya, by the way, my partner who I started that business with in 2011. And so I say all of that to say, I had to learn about myself through that experience. And through that experience, I understood that I was bringing my American way of thinking to my entrepreneurial approach in Uganda. I had too many people telling me, oh, this is Uganda. That way that you're trying to solve this issue, that way that you're trying to speak to your staff and motivate them, that level of pressure and sense of urgency that you're trying to apply to achieving things on a daily basis, ain't gonna work here, buddy. Learn how things work here. Because this formula that you're trying to use isn't succeeding.
Yeah.
Relationship-wise, I didn't have people that I was, OBs with from my primary school days, right? So much about business is about relationships, right? You hear that, right? So when I came here, as a 31-year-old man, I didn't have relationships with people that dated back 15, 20 years that I could use and leverage to my benefit. I was giving, and people were like, okay, this guy wants to give.
Let's take.
Let's take, right? So in the process, I joined corporate Uganda. Again, knowing myself, knowing my limitations, knowing the benefit that I was going to achieve by entering a system of established business and knowing what it was that I needed to learn, learning that process. Now when I re-enter, going into family business, it's not exactly a soft landing, it's a graduation to a better position given what I've worked so hard to set myself up to achieve in 2025.
Okay, now we do need to go into a quick break.
Hey.
As soon as we get back, Jaluo needs to tell us whether he's a hunter or just an everyday
Or a
farmer.
farmer.
We'll be right back after the break. Men. Men. Welcome back from the break. We're here at Sanga Courts having a discussion about entrepreneurship. Should every man, as some people have said, just become an entrepreneur? And if they fail, they fail. If they lose their money, their wives, their children, everything, it's fine. We're going to interrogate that a bit more. Jaluo, you're one of the people who said that what's the worst thing that can happen? Go and fail. Don't you think there should be some element of caution when you're getting into a business?
Obviously, with everything. Ideally, everyone. Yeah. There should be some caution with everything that you do. Ideally, everyone should get into business.
But are you a hunter or a farmer?
Huh? Am I a hunter or a farmer? I think I'm a hunter.
Yeah. Then business has no place for you.
Why do you say so?
Because according to Chris and Agaba, you have to cultivate. Yeah.
So ideally, everyone should get into business because
No, about the cultivating.
the cultivating bit, because I really don't understand what you mean by. I'm a hunter. I want to get into something and eat.
And eat.
You know, like I'm that type of individual. But I want to give an example of my dad. My dad is someone who was very proficient in what he did, and then chronic. There's a way we are conditioned that you work, you get into employment, and then the end bit of it is that you get into business. So my dad was one of these individuals. He was very proficient in what he was doing. He was the A student, and then he gets into business, and everything he did, he failed. From all the startups he started, he got into security. He started some different things that he tried to do, farming and whatnot, and he was always failing. But we could not tell him this because he was one of those guys who was like, my way is the truth, and I'm the truth. Yeah. But one thing we all knew is that he had poor interpersonal skills. You understand? Which is a very big thing. I feel like everyone can get into business, but there are different facets about business. Yeah. And I'll give you an example of the Nottingham guy. If anyone watches football here, the Nottingham boss.
Nottingham Forest.
Football, yeah. Nottingham Forest Football Club. This is a guy who wants to be the boss and also the football coach. And you've seen what is transpiring right now. There are different aspects to this, but the question about should anyone get into business, I feel like everyone should try and get into business, because at the end of the day, you're in control of this. Yeah.
Just before we get there, I want to hear from Colin, springboarding off what Jaluo has said. Now, he has just moved from Chris and Agaba's side to my side, very willingly. Okay, and I'll tell you why. He has mentioned something very interesting. There are very many different facets of business. Yes, that go into building a successful business. And sometimes we do not understand that. And the reality is not every one of us has those and has that capability. So technically, business is not for everyone.
That's true.
No.
That's true. No,
No, I don't think you understood me. Business is for everyone. Like, but we play different roles. Your role, there's a manager, there is the overall boss, there's an accountant. So many people want to do business and they want to do.
But you heard what Chris said. You start when it's you. Okay, you're doing everything. And usually when you start a business, you're the accountant, you're the CEO, you're the chief marketing officer, you are the delivery boy, you are everything. That's the reality. Then as you start scaling up, that's why you said you bring other guys, because your business, you reach that point when your business is going to kill you. And you decide, I still want to live, I need to bring more people. Then they start driving you mad. Then you realize, I need to get people to manage them. And that's how you start scaling up. So you have to start from down there.
So two things. One, I think that when you encounter a situation where your business is so hard and it's about to drive you mad, first of all, you must name your business Grindstone. So that you are eternally under the boulder. That's the name of Peter's business. It's called Grindstone.
Grindstone.
Yeah.
No comment. I'm not eternally
That's
under
one.
boulder.
But two, the other thing, which is, on a more serious note, the thing that you're saying. Not everyone, business is not for everyone because, as he says, there are different roles to play in business, but also business requires different temperaments. There are people who are in a customer-facing business who need to be patient, who need to have great interpersonal skills. But there are people whose businesses are profit-sensitive. So you have to be highly meticulous. You have to not have the tolerance for mistakes, because those little mistakes, you will miss 100 shillings here and then that becomes 100 million loss, right?
Yeah.
And so different businesses, because they interact with different people, require different skill sets. The thing as we go through life, you think that, you know what, that guy was always good at math in school, but he can't wake up early. Like, he doesn't know how to come on time. He doesn't know how to respond to emails. His emails always have typos. Like, you want that guy to go out and be the one selling your business. And the reality is that, guys, he can be taught, but there are certain natural aptitudes that we need to adjust for. That's the second thing. But the final thing on it add is, so that thing you said about, Uganda being one of the most entrepreneurial countries, highest business birth rates and highest business death rates, there is a context to that statement. And when the World Bank does that report, they always say it's the businesses that survive 3 years will likely make it, So the thing is, you need the business to survive the first 3 years. But why is the first 3 years difficult? Because that's when you're being tested. That's when your personality is being tested in the business. You're talking to customers, you're working out supply chains, you're working out deliveries, you're working out, you're balancing the money. This guy said, I'll pay you 90 days, the LP has matured, you haven't received the money. And I think that doing business in Uganda is really, it's like 1,000 ways to die, right? It's really, because, and the things I'm talking about are not strange to you. Like you today, you have to pay the everything. You sent the invoice, the guy telling you are paying 30 days. After, when it's time for paying, it says, oh, there's no goods received. Because the guy who received the goods received has disappeared with the note, right? Yeah. And people face these things all the time. You import the things, they come, this is what the assessment was. They say, no, you still owe some taxes. And I think that if you're a person of a relatively inflexible character, I don't mean you.
The way you've looked at him is like...
Obviously
but I mean people like you. If you're not a flexible person, and that's the other thing, and maybe this is the thing we need to discuss. There's the morality of the business, the ethics of the business, right? We want to do good business. People want to do profitable business. But the environment in which you are also affects. So you come out, you're a straight-laced guy, you're an accountant, but they're operating in a hostile environment which does not favor your straight and narrow approach. Yeah. So from time to time, you must let it break you, then you heal, then you come back with some crooked morals. I think that that's the thing. But above all, obviously, so skills is important, and temperament. The temperament is key.
Yeah. Now, Chris, Colin has talked about skills. and he talked about learning. The reality is that people, and I don't like using this term because sometimes I'm judged for it, there are people who are fools. It doesn't matter how much you teach them, they just can't get it. We old school with people like that. They'll be cane, they'll be whatever, they can't get it. Are there some people who are like that with business? They just can't get it.
I think that for there to be wise people, they've got to be fools.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a given. But I want to say a few things. First is
That's a Chris statement, my guy.
no, but first is at some point we seem to be, chiding or whatever, Agaba here, soft landing type of thing, and he used a number of minutes just to make his case. I just want to say a few things. Do you know that most wealth in the world is got by inheritance?
Yeah, true.
Most wealth. I think more than half of the world's billions are actually being transferred right now, between now and the next 10 or 12 years, to the next generation of billionaires who did not start their businesses. It's inheritance. So that's why, for example, the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Yeah. The idea is that the ceiling of one generation should be the floor for the next. So you should never apologize for running a family business. It's not soft life. It's that you had wise parents who had something that they've left for you. No, seriously.
If you knew my old man, there's nothing soft about it.
But what I'm saying, no, this is what I'm saying. You should never apologize for someone being wise enough to build something that you can work in, that then the next generation can work in. When you hear the story of the Madvanis, the first guy, I think, came here in the 30s. He had, I don't know, was it 10 rupees on his body? And now they're millionaires in dollars in Uganda, in Canada, in the UK and other places.
France and India.
But it's because, and it's not just because they're Indians. And I really don't like that thing where we say, no, those are the Indians, they're good at business. These are the Ugandan Africans who are bad at business. I think the rules still apply and we can learn from everybody. The point I want to say is this, is that it's possible for you to build something so that the next generation has it easier. I was having a conversation earlier with Peter before we started this show. And I read somewhere where there was a letter that John Adams, I believe one of the former US presidents, wrote a letter to his wife. And he was saying, I must study war and politics so that our children can do architecture, commerce, and engineering. So that can study architecture, commerce, engineering, and a few other disciplines he talked about, so that their children can study poetry and music. Okay?
Oh.
So
It gets softer.
It gets softer,
Yeah.
but if you really like it, soft also means it gets finer. The kind of service delivery and the kind of business you get involved in gets more sophisticated because the basics have been done.
But Chris, you
Right?
understand?
But
you're understanding what he's trying to
what
he's trying to translate.
No. So let me just say my piece. So what I'm saying is that there's got to be a generation that builds the first blocks. Okay, and if they're wise enough to allow the next generation to come in, but also add a twist from the experience they have. So, for example, he says he came in with an American outlook to things in a Ugandan context. So I hope and I believe that he's adding value to what was there that's different from what he found, not that he's breaking everything, but he's building on top of. And it should be better. So if it gets to the third generation, it should even be better, right? So I feel like, and again, the perspective of farmer and hunter looks like you guys prefer the hunter.
As a pineapple farmer, I don't.
Yeah. So two characters in the Bible, Jacob and Esau, two brothers. Okay. One was a farmer, the other was a hunter. All right. Esau was the hunter. He was the one that dad loved. Macho guy, goes out, kills game, brings it in, and
Jalo, take notes.
yeah, and the dad loved to eat his game. Okay. So many years later, it's time for him to bless his son, and he says, "Go out, get me game, and cook it for me the way I like it." So Esau goes to hunt, and it takes him as long as the mom overhears a conversation, tells Jacob, "Bring 2 kids, young goats." They slaughter them, skin them, prepare the meal. The guy eats, blesses Jacob. When he gets out, that's when Esau comes home with the game to start cooking. What's the lesson there? The thing about hunting is that you're not thinking long term. You're short-termist. So you kill game now. So all the animals are like, hey, around here you die. So they move further. They move further. So you're not harnessing relationships in business. You're not building legacy. You're not building one thing on top of the other. So before you know it, it's ever so much harder to run the business. And on the other hand, a farmer, you're just building a clientele and that kind of thing. So the paradigm, in my opinion, should be a farmer's paradigm.
Okay, the long short of it.
Wait, do you believe this?
No. Now we need to get into a break, but as soon as we get back,
I know you're.
You guys are
This guy, man.
He's evil, right?
we are going
Just when you want to say something, he calls for a break.
I know.
and deal with the issue of business and whether every man should get into it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
Men. Men.
Welcome back from the break. My name is Peter Igaga. I am the boldest man in Kampala. Some people are trying to be as bold as me. They know themselves.
Man, they have attacked you. You guys are saying nothing.
Well, for what is his worth? For what is worth? I'm the only guy here who doesn't have a mustache.
Why would you say
Peter,
that?
before we went to the break,
Yes, yes.
like this guy just said some nonsense.
That's what I was saying. I don't quite agree with him.
Well,
Agaba, you were burning.
Yeah, I mean,
So many feedbacks.
I'm here.
I think
We can
there's
talk.
a ton of brilliance in what you guys have shared, particularly around the temperament, particularly around the attitudes, the skill set, the understanding of what it is that a person lacks or has working within their toolkit in order to be able to be successful. I think one is also clear that there's a difference between being self-employed and being a business person,
Of course.
being a businessman, right? But it is imperative that I continue to clean up your misunderstanding,
Yeah.
right? We don't inherit anything around here, right? My dad is a banker, right? 40 plus years working in financial institutions, right? Never owned a share of a company ever in his life, except for maybe some stuff that he bought in Uganda Clays when it IPO'd 30 years ago, right? So what I'm confronted with today, and again, it goes back to what is your why? What are your motivations? When I was 31 years old, I was single, unmarried, had no cares in the world, and I could take risks and take chances. Now, I'm 46 years old. I have a wife of 8 years. I have future generations to take care of. I have my parents, who I am now becoming the caretaker of.
Of course.
Right?
It's that time.
So what I'm confronted with today is when the old man retires and he decides that he wants to become a farmer and he wants to plant acres of coffee, right? What I am impacted by is recognizing the opportunity that there's a firm foundation, right?
Yeah.
Now it's my responsibility to build a skyscraper,
Of course.
right? and set up my kids and my nephews and their next generation to build a whole city.
Oh, yes.
Right? So that's where we are in the evolution of business. But back to the question of should every man aim to own a business and start a business? You should try. There should be a spirit within you to want to own something that you control. Because being a foot soldier in somebody else's army just means you're a replaceable piece. You could go to sleep and not wake up, and the next day that company will remain functioning.
Boom.
Right? And I thrive on knowing that every day the choices that I make, the responsibility that I carry affects whether or not I eat. I'm willing to live and die by the quality of my decision making because I have the confidence within myself in order to know that I have the skills, the training, the aptitude, and the motivation to make the right choices, however difficult the ground may be ahead of me. But not everybody has that. And so
That's also going to that's
the easy answer is yes, every man should. But I can't speak for Colin, I can't speak for Chris, I can't speak for you or Jaluo. And I don't think anybody should ever try and speak for another person until you can walk a mile in their shoes. I think just generally speaking, we should aspire to encourage and put each other in a position to
Exactly
win.
my point.
Harvest a community of like-minded thinkers and individuals who can create a space whereby if I don't have the answers that I'm looking for, I know somebody who does, right? If I don't have the resources that I need, I can get access to them.
But then, don't you see the danger of then being out there and saying every man should just say should get into business? Because what then you are saying is, if I have never tried to do a business, if I have never gone into business, then I'm a lesser man.
No, there's no shame in failing.
Yeah.
Try and fail.
No, but what if I don't want to?
So I wanna add something here. So Peter, so all of us have been submitting on the merits, and I think that you have been asking the question of, do you need to? Does every man have the ambition? They should have the ambition. They should have the desire. But the thing that I want to introduce, maybe, and I know that you know this, is that sometimes you have no choice.
True.
So the environment makes us all businessmen, whether it's no jobs, whether it is market gaps, whether it is like you just sit there and you're just like, I want a really good haircut. And you suffer until you say, you know what? Like I'm
starting a salon.
I'm gonna fix this thing, right?
Yeah.
And so many businesses are born out of that pain. And I think that looking around us, I think that there's so many people who have sort of gotten into that environment where they have the desire or they have a job, they have other things, but the environment just, a guy is done his university, he's done his degree, he's been on the street for 3-4 years. If you find that guy on a bike or ride-sharing business, that's what he's doing because the environment has sort of squeezed him. And I think that you also have to consider that when you ask the pointed question, should every man be in business? And if they go in there, what if they fail? I think that you also have to accommodate for that environmental factor that sometimes the thing, like the right Uganda way to say is, the thing squeezes you. It squeezes you until you have no choice. Yeah. So I wanted to just add that in there as well.
Peter, should everyone get into business? Everyone should get into business. Does everyone have the fortitude of doing business? No. Business is not something that is inborn. It's a learned thing, and that is why we have communities that strive in business. I know that we keep mentioning communities that have successfully strived.
Chris doesn't like you to mention.
No, I know.
What do you mean? What communities? What do you mean?
We have communities.
Certain communities.
Yeah, they have. It reads.
No, you mean that Indian?
Yeah. It reads into
that. They're successful at business.
It is something that.
Yeah, and you can learn from them as
and
well.
That's why early on I say that what he was translating by he had to come. And he had to toil for himself before he got into the family business. It is not something you just get into. There are people. The problem that we have today is that why businesses fail is that you've done your part as an old man, and you didn't teach these young people how to do this, and it's one of the reasons why it fails.
Jello, my fundamental challenge with what Peter is saying is this: it is you're asking an equivalent question in another area, like, should every man marry a wife?
Yes.
Look,
If you
listen.
want to, you don't have to.
Everyone should try and marry a wife.
Yeah.
So some people succeed,
Some people fail.
some don't.
Yeah.
Some are eunuchs, some are not. What I'm saying is,
There's structure
we
to this,
we can't sit here and pontificate to this nation and whoever else is watching us to say, hey, don't try business. So is it written on anyone's head? No, Peter, listen. Is it written on anyone's head to say, businessman, left, not business, right, businessman, left? How do you know? You try yourself, you apply yourself in the space. And actually, some people are surprising business people. They didn't think they would succeed. They actually, like Colin has said, it's era of life. You know, sometimes you find yourself in a situation.
So you believe that there are people who will wake up one day and become good business people?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes. We approach the way life is that there's people who set out to do business. Some succeed, some don't. There's people who are frustrated, like, I want a good haircut and there's no one giving it to you, and then they try it out and it works. So the thing is this: we can't sit here and tell anyone whether they should do business or not.
Okay,
It's a lot of opportunity.
We've reached that point where we do have to start wrapping up the show. However, I think Chris has really just run off the rail and gotten me wrong. What I was trying to say is, if you want to do business, do it because you want to. Nobody should castigate you and say you are less of a man because you've not done business. And the analogy you use of marrying is wrong. If I'm a Catholic priest and I don't want to get married, I want to serve the church, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's a choice.
Peter, that guy who was in mayhem because he found out that his father is a priest. So you talking about you're denying people their parentage.
Your party
Doing business is not a feeling. You don't. It's not a feeling where you feel like, I can do business. And I for the very first time, I don't agree with what Chris said, that, there are people who just wake up one day and they're good at doing business. I feel it's a learned thing. It's something that is taught. And that is why we have communities that flourish in this and the communities that do not flourish in this. That is why you have to go go to the ground and learn how to do this. So at the end of the day, everyone can get into business. There is a structure to this. There's a structure to this, and if you want to flourish in this, you have to learn how to do business.
Yeah.
It's that basic, I think. Yeah.
All right, cool. Agaba, your parting shot.
I think there's an element that we haven't discussed, and I'll just say this. If you want industries to thrive and flourish in Uganda, clearly they're going to be built on the back of people who are not entrepreneurs. The engineers, the blue-collar workers, the people that work on the ground upon whose backs the companies built and whose toil and effort runs the gears of the business on a daily basis. Those aren't necessarily people who are thinking with an entrepreneurial mind. They have a passion for what they're doing. And I think that's an amazing thing that is going to continue to be essential for the growth and development of our country and every economy for that matter. So it's not mandatory, it's not a must that everybody should want to do business. But I think for those that wake up with the motivation to do so, try it. If you succeed, congratulations, keep going. If you don't, there's no shame in it.
Yeah.
At least you gave it a shot.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Chris, your part.
Many years ago, there's a friend of ours who went to South Africa, and she had done a certificate in music, dance, and drama, didn't go straight to campus. And then she did mass comm for her first degree. And then she went to South Africa and applied for health economics. And the panel was like, look, you can't do health economics. You did MDD and then mass comm. There's no way you can be doing health economics. And she told the panel this, and I quote, there's nothing that can't be learned. There's nothing that can't be learned. So said, okay, said, if you're willing to teach me, I'll learn it. Try me. She topped her class. She got a scholarship and did a PhD. She's now a deputy chancellor in one of the big universities in this country, right? A health economist, because there's nothing that can't be learned. Business has a formula. You can learn it. Leadership, talent, strategy, execution, profit, systems, marketing and customers. You can learn all that stuff. There's nothing that can't be learned, right? I would say, if you really want to try your hand at business, incidentally, we actually agree, try it. But get mentors. Get people who can help you along the way. There's people who have actually done it, and you can actually succeed. But here's the thing. I mean, look, if you fail, you can just as well go back and get a job like everyone else. Because in the first place, no, honestly, in the first place, when you have a job, you're a business person with one client. That's what employment is. Self-employment, you're a business person with many clients, many bosses. And then business is systems. And then investment is when you get to a point where you send your money into businesses and you make money. So look, you can try the whole thing, but if you really want to try your hand at business, I mean, this is Uganda. Try.
Did you say damn it?
No, I say, that doesn't come out of my mouth. I don't speak French.
All right.
I speak French.
Oh, please don't. Please don't.
I think that the reward is so pain is success, right?
Yeah.
And I think that this is generally the rule around business. And whether you're self-employed or you run a business or you're at the top and you have systems working for you, or you're just a guy just taking pineapples from a farm and trying to get them to market and sell them to people, right?
Okay.
The pain is the success. The more pain and suffering you're able to endure, the higher your chances of success. Now, and I think that when you then look at it in that lens, because when we talk about business, we assume people are making money, people are delivering products, but really it's just taking a product and delivering a service to people. And when you think about that lens, about the more pain you're willing to take, the more your chances of success, I think then we arrive at the fact that we are different temperaments. There are people who don't want to suffer so much. There are people who think they are not built to suffer so much. And I think if you then come back into the hunter-farmer analogy, it's also like that. There are people who are individually driven. They are aware of who they are. They are aware of how they are made, that they're built for success. They're built to go out there, conquer the world, shape it and mold it in their own image. There are people who say, my success is around the community. So if we all eat, then I have eaten, right? And those are realities for people. They are the communities in which they live. I think that if you then take that lens, then the understanding around pain and suffering and how that is tied to success is a key understanding to the business success. And therefore, if you then think about that, I mean, I think that everyone should do business at some point because of what I opened with, which is the transferable skills, which, sort of relate in other areas of your life. But I only come with that caution.
All right.
If you don't like pain.
Well, business is pain. That's the reality. Well, we've had a pretty heated discussion tonight about whether every man should get into business. The only thing I disagree with you is not everything can be learned. I can't learn to be a go-go dancer, even if I tried. We need to call it a night. It has been great having you guys. As always, this is the one show that lights up your Tuesday night. We'll see you next week. God bless and take good care of yourselves.